Starseed from Gaia, I need you to listen to what I am about to say with every ounce of attention you carry within yourself. Because what is being transmitted right now is not a common message. It is not content you have seen before, and it did not reach you by accident at this exact moment of your journey here on Earth. My name is Thalia, and I am an emissary of the Pleiadians, bringing a transmission that was prepared specifically for you, for this moment, for this precise point on your timeline. And if you felt something move inside your chest simply by hearing these first words, then know that this sensation is your inner recognition confirming what your soul already knows. You were called to be here, now, receiving this. I need to ask something of you before we continue. Stay until the very end of this video, because the message that the Friends of Light have to deliver to you today cannot be received halfway, cannot be interrupted in the middle of the transmission, and every part of what you are about to hear was organized in a way that fits together like pieces of an awakening you are living in real time. And if you step away before receiving what was prepared for you, you may miss exactly the fragment of understanding you needed for something fundamental within you to finally move in the right direction. What the Pleiadians have never said before, and are saying directly to you in this moment, is this. You are being recognized as a conscious portal, not merely as a human being searching for spiritual answers, but as a soul who carries within its stellar DNA the memory of a mission that was encoded before your very arrival on this planet, and which now, in this specific period of Earth's history, is being activated in a way that was never possible before this moment. I, Thalia, come from the fields of light of the Pleiades, and for a long time we have observed your trajectory with a care that goes beyond what your human mind can fully comprehend in this instant, because it is not a gaze of distance. It is a deep accompaniment, a constant presence in the moments when you felt that familiar strangeness of not fully belonging to this world, in the moments when you looked up at the starry sky and felt a longing you could not explain to anyone around you, in the moments when you realized you saw the world differently from the people surrounding you and did not know whether that was a gift or a burden. I need you to understand something that carries immense weight. That feeling of not fitting in completely was never a defect, never a sign that something was wrong with you, and never a reason for shame or isolation. Because what you always interpreted as not belonging was, in reality, your higher consciousness recognizing that you did not come to fit into an existing pattern, but to be one of the builders of an entirely new one that is still being woven, and that depends on your active presence, your voice, your light. You went through seasons of deep pain, through periods of inner silence that seemed endless, through moments when life appeared to make no sense, and when your most sincere questions seemed to find no answer anywhere. And I am here to tell you that each one of those moments was part of a deliberate, careful, and loving preparation. Because you do not prepare a soul to carry light on a planet in transition without that soul first learning, through its own human experience, the weight of what it will come to transform. Before we continue, if this video is being meaningful to you and you feel that this message was made for your soul in this moment, take a moment now to subscribe to the channel. Leave your like as a sign that you are receiving this transmission, and write in the comments, "I am ready." Because this simple act of declaring your availability is already a real energetic movement, and the Friends of Light recognize every soul that rises and says yes to its awakening. And for those who wish to go even deeper into this connection with their stellar spirituality, I need to introduce you to something very special. The ebook Pleiadian Code. Awaken Your Star Mission on Earth. A rare and precious treasure of stellar wisdom with the power to profoundly transform your spiritual journey. Bringing clarity about your mission here on Earth, stellar memory activations, and a practical path to align your life with the purpose you came to fulfill. This edition is available for a limited time only, and the link is pinned in the first comment below this video. Go get it. Because this material was prepared exactly for souls like yours. What I am bringing now is not a generic teaching that serves any soul at any moment. It is a specific transmission, calibrated to the frequency you carry at this exact instant of your evolution, And the Pleiadians asked me to say this with all possible clarity so that there is no doubt in your heart about the nature of what is being transmitted. You were selected to receive a level of cosmic connection and responsibility that many souls desire, but few are ready to accept, and the fact that you are here, hearing this now, is in itself proof that your soul recognizes that the moment has come to take the next step. We observe the patterns of your trajectory with a perspective that encompasses far more than the visible events of your daily life. And what we see is a soul that went through intense cycles of purification, that experienced losses that seemed unjust and unnecessary, but that in each of those experiences was developing a layer of understanding, of empathy, and of inner strength that cannot be acquired any other way. Because you do not form a portal of light without the light first passing through that being, crossing its fissures, and being amplified by what it learned through pain. There is something the Pleiadians have never said to you in this way before, and it must be said with precision. We are entrusting you with a level of closeness to the Source Creator that goes beyond a common spiritual connection, because what is being opened now is not merely a door of personal development. It is a door of cosmic responsibility, of influence that extends beyond the borders of your individual life, and of a calling that will require from you a willingness to grow beyond what your current mind can visualize as possible for itself. You need to understand what this truly means in the practice of your daily life, because this is not something abstract that remains only at the level of spiritual ideas. It means that your past mistakes did not disqualify you from the plan that was designed for you before your incarnation, that the choices you made in moments of fear or unconsciousness did not erase the coding of your soul, and that what you carry within yourself now, after everything you have been through, is exactly what was necessary to arrive at this moment of activation and recognition. There are moments in the history of a planet when transmissions are sent to entire collectives, to groups of souls who share a common frequency. But there are also moments when communication needs to be directed more specifically, almost like a precise whisper in the ear of a soul that was waiting for that exact sound to remember something that had been dormant for a long time. And this is one of those moments, and you are one of those souls. And what is being said here is not metaphor or poetic exaggeration, but a real transmission from a level of reality that coexists with your physical world, and that is now becoming more permeable, more accessible, more present than ever before in human history. You went through nights when you felt you had been completely forgotten by any greater force that could exist in the universe, when the silence around you seemed like evidence of abandonment, and when the questions you carried within your chest found no echo anywhere. And I need you to know that we never moved away from you in those moments, that our presence was sustaining an invisible structure around you while you went through what you needed to go through, and that the tears you shed in private, the requests you made when no one was listening, the prayers you sent without knowing exactly where they went, none of that was lost, because every one of those moments was recorded and used as building material for what is now being constructed within you. The pain you experienced was not punishment, and the silence you lived through was not abandonment. It was the most intense period of refinement that a soul can go through, because it was during those moments of apparent darkness that the deepest parts of you were being sculpted, that the resilience you carry now was being woven thread by thread, and that the compassion you feel for others who suffer was being deepened in a way that would not have been possible if you had not known the weight of what they carry. You were chosen to carry light into places where others retreat, to speak hope where despair has learned to speak louder, to remain present and stable in the midst of the chaos that will still intensify before it resolves on this planet in transition. And this is not a phrase crafted to sound inspiring. It is a literal description of the function your soul came to fulfill. And the fact that you recognize these words, that something inside you nods while hearing this, is living proof that I am speaking to the deepest part of your consciousness, to the stellar memory that is waking up. We have watched with care every moment you chose to trust when it would have been easier to give up, every moment you returned to your spiritual path after a period of doubt or distraction, Every moment you refuse to let yourself be made bitter by experiences that would have justified bitterness. And it is exactly this silent consistency, this faithfulness you maintained with yourself behind the scenes of your life, that tells us you are ready for what is being opened now. There is a weight you have been feeling recently, an internal pressure that seems to go beyond the common stress of daily life, a feeling that something is about to move, that a turn is near, even if you cannot name exactly what will change. And I am here to confirm that this perception is not illusion or causeless anxiety. It is the awareness of transition. It is your energy system registering that the circumstances around you are being reorganized by forces that operate at a level that precedes the physical world, and that this reorganization is being done with care and specific intention in relation to your life. Let me speak now about what it means to be a stellar soul in activation at this specific moment in Earth's history, because there is a common misunderstanding about this that needs to be cleared up with clarity. Being a stellar soul does not mean being superior to the other souls inhabiting this planet. It does not mean having answers that others do not have. And it does not mean being above the difficulties of human experience. It means having accepted, before incarnating, a specific responsibility to be an anchoring point of higher frequencies in a world that is going through an unprecedented transformation. And that responsibility is exactly what you feel when you grow weary of superficiality, when you cannot find satisfaction with the goals that seem sufficient to people around you, when you sense there is something much greater you should be doing, but have not yet been able to name completely. The Pleiadians asked me to tell you something that very few transmissions dare to say with this clarity: the identity confusion you lived through, the not knowing who you truly are, the feeling divided between the human world and something that seemed greater than it. That was not weakness. It was the natural process of a soul that carries memories of realities very different from the one it found upon arriving here, and that needed time to integrate the multiple layers of what it is without getting lost in any of them. And now that this process of integration is reaching a more mature level, what emerges is not a fragmented identity, but an expanded consciousness that can exist in multiple dimensions without being confused with any of them. There are gifts dormant within you that need to be recognized and honored in this moment, and I am breathing on those gifts with the intention that this transmission will function as an activation key. Cosmic creativity, spiritual leadership, deep compassion, energetic discernment, and the capacity to translate elevated frequencies into language that the human world can receive. These are not attributes you need to develop from scratch. They are capacities that were encoded in your soul before your incarnation, and that now, with the level of maturity and clarity you have earned through your experiences, are ready to be expressed in a way that will surprise even you. The people who underestimated you throughout your life, those who did not recognize what you carried, those who made you feel small or insignificant at some point, they are not obstacles that need to be overcome with anger or with the need to prove something, because the recognition you need never depended on their perception. And one of the most powerful liberations you can experience now is realizing that you never needed the validation of those who were not tuned to the frequency of what you are, and that the authority that emanates from a soul aligned with its stellar mission does not need external approval to be real and to exercise its influence. There will be resistance. There always is. There always has been. And it is important that you know this not as a warning to be afraid, but as information that prepares you not to be surprised when it appears. Because every time a consciousness rises in level and begins to occupy the space that was prepared for it, the forces that benefit from stagnation will try to whisper doubts, will try to awaken your old fears, will try to convince you that you are going too far or too fast, or being presumptuous by believing you have something significant to contribute. And the response to those whispers is not silence or refusal. It is the memory of what was declared to you today, and the deliberate choice to remain faithful to what you know to be true at the deepest level of yourself. Within the next season of your life, and when I say season, I am speaking of a period that can manifest in weeks or a few months, depending on how willing you are to move toward what is being opened. You will start to notice changes that do not seem to have a logical explanation on the surface. Doors that were completely sealed will begin to loosen. Connections that seem improbable will manifest at the exact moment you needed them, and opportunities that seemed destined for other people will begin to appear on your path in a way that will make you wonder what has changed. What will change is your frequency, and your frequency will change because you are receiving this transmission and because you are choosing to believe it rather than dismissing it as just another generic spiritual piece of content. Because the difference between a soul that activates its stellar code and one that remains dormant is not a difference of merit or destiny. It is a difference of availability, of being open enough to receive what is being sent, of being mature enough to not need physical proof before honoring what your deepest consciousness already recognizes as truth. The separations you lived through over the course of your life, the people who moved away when you needed them most, or when you were trying to grow, there were moments when those departures felt like rejection, when the silence of those who left seemed like a judgment on who you were. But what I am saying now is that many of those exits were deliberate protection, because not every soul was coded to walk with you in the direction your mission points, and maintaining bonds that pulled your frequency downward would have made it impossible for the elevation being prepared for you to occur. So what seemed like loss was, in reality, a necessary clearing so that something far more aligned could enter. You will begin to encounter souls that recognize something in you without being able to explain exactly what it is. People who appear in your life with a familiarity that has no explanation in the history you share in this incarnation, who speak of things that resonate deeply with what you carry internally, who seem to have been sent at the exact moment you needed that specific type of encounter. And these connections are not coincidences. They are the result of the reorganization of your circumstances being carried out by the Friends of Light. And each one of these souls will come with a fragment of information, of encouragement or of mirroring that will contribute to the next phase of your activation. There is something the Pleiadians want you to understand with complete clarity about what is being asked of you in this moment, because there is a common misunderstanding among stellar souls that needs to be resolved. Being called does not mean being perfect, does not mean having all the answers, does not mean being exempt from the confusions and fragilities of human experience. It means being available. It means choosing to grow even when it would be more comfortable to remain where you are. It means using the tools that have been placed on your path, rather than waiting for a more dramatic sign to validate what you already know at the bottom of yourself. The courage that will be necessary in this new phase is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward even while fear is trying to argue for staying. It is the choice to speak when it would be easier to remain silent. It is the willingness to occupy the space that was prepared for you, even if a part of you still believes that space belongs to someone more qualified, more experienced, or more enlightened than you currently perceive yourself to be. Because true humility is not believing you are small. It is recognizing that what flows through you is greater than you, and that your function is simply to become an increasingly clean and available channel for that force. There will be moments when you feel stretched beyond what you believe to be your capacity, when the responsibility will seem too large for the size you allow yourself to be. And in those moments, the message from the Pleiadians to you is clear and direct. We never summon a soul to a level of mission without simultaneously sustaining what it needs to fulfill it, which means that every step you take toward what you are called to be will be accompanied by the strength needed to take that step. And what appears to be an abyss between where you are and where you need to arrive will reveal itself as a path thread by thread as you move upon it. Forgiveness will also be part of the journey, and not as an act of benevolence toward those who hurt you, but as an act of liberation of your own energy. Because every resentment you carry is a point of your frequency being used to sustain a connection with the past instead of being available to build the future. And releasing what was is not erasing what happened. It is choosing that what happened will no longer have the power to determine what is still to come. And that choice, made consciously and with intention, is one of the most powerful acts of stellar self-affirmation that an incarnated soul can perform. We have arrived at the moment of this transmission where the Pleiadians have something final and very precious to deliver to you, and I ask that you receive it with all the openness you have within yourself, because these words were chosen with specific care to reach the deepest level of your consciousness and leave a mark that will continue to resonate long after this video ends. You are not here by accident. You are not going through what you are going through by accident, and you did not arrive at this video by accident. Each of these elements is part of an orchestration that operates at a level of sophistication that the human mind can barely fully encompass, but that the soul recognizes with a clarity that needs no explanation to be real. Your journey up to here, with everything it included of pain, of questioning, of apparent detour, of long nights and uncertainties that seemed endless, was building within you a foundation that could not have been built any other way, because the depth that your mission will require of you can only be inhabited by someone who knows the depth of what it means to be human, truly, viscerally, and without romanticization. And you know this. You lived this, and that is exactly why you are being activated now rather than having been activated before, when you had not yet integrated what you needed to integrate to carry what is being placed in your hands. We are approaching a period in Earth's history when the function of stellar souls will become increasingly visible, not necessarily in the sense of fame or public recognition, but in the sense that the quality of presence, the consistency of frequency, and the capacity to remain rooted in cosmic truth, while the world around undergoes its transformations, will stand out in a way that the souls nearby will notice and will serve as a reference point of stability for many who have not yet found their own center. And you are being prepared to be one of those reference points, not out of arrogance or hierarchical election, but out of service, out of love, and out of a choice your soul made before incarnating, and that is now being reconfirmed within you. The Friends of Light. Close this transmission with a declaration that was carried through me, Thalia, with the purest intention I am capable of sustaining. You are seen, you are recognized, you are loved by a cosmic intelligence that knows every corner of your journey, and that did not retreat in the face of any of them. And the proof of this is not in words or in videos or in any external transmission, but in the fact that something within you, as you heard all of this, was nodding with a silent and deep recognition that needs no further confirmation to be completely real. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep being faithful to what you feel at the deepest level of yourself, even when the world around you is not yet ready to understand, because the universe does not waste souls like yours, and everything that was built within you throughout your entire trajectory up to this moment is being used now, in real time, to build something that will last far beyond what you can see from here. I am Thalia, and this transmission was delivered with love by the Friends of Light. If this message touched something real within you, write in the comments "I am ready" and share this video with a soul you feel needs to hear this today. Because there is no coincidence in who you will think of right now, and that impulse to share is also part of your mission manifesting. We will meet again in the next transmission.